reputation in Star Wars Outlaws is it's your relationship with the crime syndicates that rule the underworld. So here we're talking about the Hut Cartel, the Pike Syndicate, Crimson Dawn, and the Ashige clan. And basically, your relationship with them will bring different opportunities, and it will change your experience of the world. Very early on, we knew that we wanted to do a scoundrel story. And we knew we wanted the game to be about choice and consequences. So pretty naturally, reputation came as the medium for the player to interact with the game. So that's the foundation for the game, and then we built the game around that. So all features in the game are one way or another connected to reputation.
Yeah, that scoundrel fantasy has really been like a beacon that all the other features and systems that we're creating look towards. Like, it has to be tapping into what it means to be a scoundrel, and particularly what it means to be Kay and her point of view on the world. So yeah, we've always looked to that as our pillar to direct us when we're creating our features and systems.
So the thing is, our character, Kay Vess, she is a free scoundrel. Freedom is her top value in life. And in that sense, her interaction with the syndicates is not one of allegiance. It's not even one of friendship, really. It's more about how she uses the syndicates as much as they use her in their jobs to achieve her goals. So in that sense, you will work with all the syndicates, but you won't really commit to one in particular. So reputation is really about how you, as a scoundrel, navigate the world and the underworld and the crime syndicates of Star Wars. So it's all about your choices as a player as well. You can choose to work for one syndicate, or you can choose to work for another based on your goals of the moment. So it's really empowering in terms of player choice. So we think that in that sense, it lends itself very well for an open world game.
Yeah, I mean, we have such a strong theme and a strong story as well. I mean, a lot of this is driven by who Kay is meeting in that moment and what makes sense in terms of the syndicate she's interacting with. There are moments in the game, there are beats in the game where the reputation that you're getting or losing is just, those choices are flowing from what the story is telling anyway. So that's where we start, and then it's really about just honing down on those experiences to check that all different choices and all different actions, like all the different ways you could play the game, we're still holding on to that idea that you've got the freedom and you're aligning with exactly who you want to be aligning with in that moment. I mean, it is the underworld. So yes, everything is transactional to a degree. You will get to know characters better than some others. But in terms of friendships, I mean, everything in Star Wars Outlaws is at the backdrop of the underworld, and people can betray you, they can double cross you. That is just the world Kay is living in.
Yeah, and sometimes they will betray you, and you'll have to roll with the punches. Sometimes you will betray them. So, for example, when you pick up a job, sometimes you'll get the opportunity to side with another syndicate. You'll get contacted with a better reward. So it will be up to you to decide if you want to protect your reputation with your employer, or if you want to be greedy and go for more money at the cost of reputation. Yeah, these big surprise moments where you get betrayed are always tied to a narrative. So it's always part of the story. So it's Kay's story after all. You're not always in control. You can, of course, adapt, but sometimes things will happen and you will have to, again, roll with the punches there. The smaller jobs are a little clearer, so it's more about you choosing if you want to betray them, but you will never get betrayed for like smaller things that are not tied to a big narrative moment.
And I mean, the crux of the system is really that it fluctuates backwards and forward. So yes, you can end up in bad or terrible reputation, but the next hour of the game, maybe you're in good and excellent, and it goes backwards and forwards. It's as Matthieu said, it's really about rolling with the punches.
Yeah, and you it's a little bit of adjustment compared to some other games where it's an always up type of approach. But here it's really part of the flow to just fluctuate, go down and up in reputation. So that's something you kind of learn, and then if you lose reputation on a job, that's okay. You'll make it up maybe the next job, and if you want to make it up faster, then you can take things in your own hands and you can pick up a contract, or maybe choose to assist one of the factions, one of the syndicates in the world, and regain some of their trust.
You get the full experience. Like Kay's story in Star Wars Outlaws, it's Kay's story. The main beats are there. What reputation does is it changes maybe your approach to a problem within the story. If you have to, say, steal something from the Pikes and you have bad reputation with them, then they're going to make your life a lot more difficult as you're trying to do that. But if you're good reputation, maybe you can just walk into one of their territories and just take the item. So it changes more the gameplay around the story rather than the overall story itself.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. There are points in the story where you'll get to choose how you want to approach something. So, for example, do I want to steal something in the district of one of the factions, of one of the syndicates or the other? And in that case, well, based on your current reputation, you can decide where to go. Of course, if you have a good rep, with good reputation with one of the syndicates, it's going to be an easier approach to that problem. So that you can be flexible, but there are always ways to work around reputation.
Yeah, because of that transactional nature of the Underworld, it's reputation. It's not a friendship. It's temporary alliances. It's very much about people working with each other in the Underworld. It's very direct and to the point. Like, Kate, we need you to work with us because we need to use your thief skills. So the impact of reputation is more about how the world reacts to you, how all the people in the world that you meet will react slightly differently depending on your current reputation, about the areas that you can explore, all the things that are open to you.
Globally, the syndicates will react differently to you depending on your reputation with them. If you have a good reputation, they might turn into temporary allies and help you in the world. If you have a bad reputation, they'll get suspicious and aggressive even. So they will attack you. You might want to alter where you go, which, if a syndicate controls a part of the world, you might want to avoid it if you have a bad reputation with them, because that's going to be very dangerous.
Also impacts merchants. So if you are a good reputation with a merchant who's affiliated with one of the syndicates, then they're going to give you a discount, and vice versa. They'll jack up the prices as a bit of a punishment for not being in good reputation. And then there's also some characters that you will meet in districts who might have like a small little storyline which you wouldn't be able to interact with if you weren't in good reputation. Well, I think the decision to make this more about how the world reacts to you than by changing the story dramatically, I think that's actually helped us sort of complement the other departments in what we're doing. We've been able to find lots of little ways all over the game to show that impact of reputation. And show the influence of being friends or not being friends with the syndicate. So I think mostly it's just we've been able to support that and lift that up from every department in the game, I think.
Yeah, and I think everyone was very excited from the beginning to work with reputation and look at, okay, how can we inject reputation in the different aspects of the game? So I think creatively it was something that really made the creative energy bubble in the team. Very positive overall, I would say. Like Alice said, when we decided early on to protect the story, to have a very strong story, we could open our chakras everywhere else. So Kay still has a very strong moral compass. She's an archetypical scoundrel in many ways. She's very special in many ways too. But one of the traits from the archetypical scoundrel, in our opinion, is that they are good people at their heart. So the type of jobs that Kay will take will be fundamentally, good. She might mess with syndicates, but she will not mess with people who are, innocent or don't deserve to be messed with.
She's also a rookie, which means she's kind of bad at it sometimes as well. As we get to watch Kay grow into this role as well. So she might try and betray someone and it not go super well because, she's still finding a place in the underworld and learning. So there's that aspect to it as well. So one of the examples is we mentioned you can go into districts that are owned by syndicates. You can do that at good reputation, but you can't loot freely in there. If you can still steal from them. I liken this to you know someone well enough to invite them over for tea, but you don't know them well enough for them to just start taking your stuff and borrowing it. So you can only loot freely in those districts if you're at excellent reputation.
Yeah, they will also, at different milestones, they will send little thank you gifts. So you'll get some rewards. And also something that's really interesting is contracts, so our Underworld Jobs. The contracts available to you will vary based on your reputation. So if you have a terrible reputation, for example, the type of contract you'll receive is more about hustles to get you out of your bad spot. So the reputation that you'll gain from those is quite big, but you won't get a lot of money. On the other hand of this, if you have an excellent reputation, they will give you high risk, high reward jobs. So they will entrust you with those top contracts. And when you go there, of course you can cash out a lot of money, but also you get the opportunity to work for another syndicate and betray them. So you can double down and you can make even more money, but at the cost of your excellent reputation with that syndicate. It's really something where you can strategize and decide if you want to keep boosting your reputation for all those advantages that we talked about, or if you want to kind of cash out on your reputation to get a lot of money.
I know that there's no reputation system within the Empire. It's only with these individual syndicates. But is that where the wanted system comes into play? Is that how I'm understanding it correctly?
Yeah, precisely. So the wanted system represents your interactions with the Empire. So the Empire will mostly ignore you, but if they catch you doing something that they don't like, which is typically messing with the Empire, then you will become wanted. And the more that escalates, the more troops, the more people they will send after you. So all the way to the world being filled with people actively looking for Kay, trying to neutralize her. So if you reach the maximum wanted level, an event will spawn in the world where death troopers will appear. And if you manage to defeat them, you'll be able to clear your wanted level. But that's one of the top challenges in the game, because you have to imagine that you're maximum wanted on that planet. So the Empire is everywhere. There are troops everywhere, the occasional ATST looking for you, and there's a ship of death troopers landing somewhere, and you go for a showdown versus them. And if you beat them, you're free. So the full worst case nightmare for Kay would be to be wanted by the Empire at the maximum level, and also hunted down. So with a contract on her head from the 4 syndicates. And that's, good luck to get out of that alive.
I think someone would actively have to try and annoy everybody all at the same time to get to that point.
Yes.
I'm sure someone's going to try.
Looking forward to the TikToks.
Yeah.